So a very good morning and welcome back to another video. Now last week I came out to the coast and I used my Olympus EM-10 Mark II for the very first time. Now this week we've come back to the coast and we're going to do the kind of photography that gets me excited, this long exposure stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this camera can handle this because the shutter speeds go down to a minute, which is great. Right, so before the big pipe sort of reveals itself, hopefully in the next hour or so, I thought we'd just get practice, just dial in some settings and just use the smaller pipe that's poking out. It's a shame that the waves just aren't quite reaching it now, the tide's gone out just a little bit too far, but well, it is what it is for a test shot. There's quite a nice sky behind it, we've got the wind farm off in the distance, and we've got some sort of post sticking out in the sea as well. So we're at 3.2 seconds, f8 and ISO 200. Right, so just over my left shoulder, the tops of these pipes are now starting to reveal themselves. Now, my plan for this photo is to use my Canon 16-35 EF lens. But how do you attach that to a Micro Four Thirds camera? Well, in this past week, I've got an EF to Micro Four Thirds adapter. The only problem with this is it is a manual only adapter, so there's no electronic contacts inside it. And if you know anything about Canon lenses, they're all electronic lenses. Obviously, you get the focus on the lens, you get the zoom on the lens, but the aperture is all controlled electronically. So how are we going to do that? Well, where there is a will, there is a way, and when you have a spare Canon camera with you, there is definitely a way. So there we go, an EM-10 Mark II with a Canon 16-35mm lens on set to f11. So what did I just do then? If you have a Canon DSLR, set the aperture to what you want it to do with the lens attached to the camera, press and hold the depth of field preview button, and while you're holding the button down, take the lens off the camera and the lens will not open back up, it will stay at the aperture that you have set it to. Now obviously this isn't something that you're going to want to do all of the time. It's probably not too healthy for the lens, but as a one-off, as a bit of a stopgap, no other way of doing things, it's perfectly fine. The reason I've chose to do it with this lens is because it's the widest lens I own that's going to fit this camera, and I also have a filter kit that attaches to the front of this lens to allow me to do the long exposures. Now the sun's up a little bit more, the pipes are a little bit further out, there's a little bit more light, we're going to want to start using filters to get them super long exposures. So let's get moved back down to the pipes and start setting this photograph up. Alright, so the camera's now set up, we've got the 10-stop filter on, the composition's dialed in, we shoot it straight down the middle of the pipes. We had a slight change of plan. I didn't have the 82mm adapter ring in my bag for reasons known only to science, so we're now using the 24-105, but I've set it up exactly the same, f11. So we're shooting straight down the pipes, got some nice pastel colour in the sky, so let's get on, let's get this photograph taken, and hopefully we're going to get quite a nice one. Alright, so let's crack on and take this photograph. So we've got the 10-stop filter on, f11, ISO 200, and 60 seconds on the exposure. Using a 2-second timer, here we go. And this is great because the Canon cameras only go down to 30 seconds. So I've had to get out the remote shutter to do that on the Canon cameras, but obviously this, the slowest shutter speed on this is a minute, which is fantastic when I'm doing this long exposure stuff. It's just one less thing to worry about. I'm really starting to wonder now if this Micro Four Thirds system is going to be the future of my photography. See, I've ordered an EM-5 Mark II, that's going to come in a few days. Obviously that's got the weather sealing, it's a little bit higher end, a little bit more durable, a little bit more rugged to use outside. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in with that as well. But over these last 2 weeks, I've really sort of had my mindset changed about what it is I want from a camera. And these Micro Four Thirds things, they really are starting to tick all of the boxes. So I really am wondering if the future of my photography lies in these Olympus systems. I do like this little thing, I really do like this little thing, and I'm so excited to get its bigger brother next week. So we've been out, we've done some sunrise photography, and we've been out and we've done some long exposure photography with it. What about, I don't know, shooting at night at a high ISO? I wonder how that'd look. Right, so that was just some sample video and some sample photographs, all shot at night, high ISO of 800. A massive shout out to my mate David Flower for lending me his 45mm f1.8 to use. I'm gonna leave a card at the end of this video to Dave's video about that lens. He's got a whole video about that lens, so I'll leave a card at the end of the video about that. Lastly, I just wanted to see how the camera held up at night, and honestly, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. I'm aware that the sensors in these are quite small, and smaller sensors in low light situations, especially a camera as old as this, it can be a little bit noisy, but I was pleasantly surprised by just how clean the images were, and there wasn't an awful lot of colour noise as well. See, the luminous noise, the little white speckledy bits everywhere, I can live with that, but when things in the shadows start turning to mush and you get all these little bits of colour everywhere, that is what I don't like, and there was a noticeable absence of that, so I was quite pleased with that. Like I said, everything last night was shot 45mm, full frame equivalent of 90mm, f1.8, ISO 800. I really did enjoy myself last night, and I've really enjoyed myself using this camera today. Let's go for a walk round and see what else there is to take this morning from Hornsey Beach. Alright, so for this final image, there are some cliff tops just over in the distance, and the rising sun, the sunlight, it's kind of hitting it at a bit of an off angle. So you're getting all this like silhouette and the haze and everything, and obviously with a fast shutter speed of a 1600th of a second, you can kind of almost silhouette it out a little bit, and it looks quite nice. So I'm trying to time it as some waves roll across against the breakers and everything, and then I get some nice dramatic sky. I've thrown the Helios on, we're at f8, ISO 200, and like I said, a 1600th of a second. So it's just a waiting game, just trying to time it as a wave rolls across this scene. So we get some splashback, not in a bad way. Splashback is usually a bad thing, not in this sense. So there we go, another morning at the beach with my Olympus EM-10 Mark II. I really am wondering if the future of my photography does lie in these micro four thirds cameras. I'm so surprised by the amount of sort of bang for the buck that you get with all the features packed into these cameras. Obviously you can pick these up second hand now really quite cheaply. I bought this broken with a damaged LCD screen for £99. They typically go for about £270, £300 on eBay. Occasionally you'll find them with a kit lens attached to it as well. That is something I do need to get into, is finding some lenses for the micro four thirds system. So if you've got any idea of some good lenses that I can pick up for these cameras, please let me know in the comments down below, because I've been looking and it's kind of a minefield. I'm kind of torn between three cameras. It's the three lenses, the 14 to 42, the 45 1.8, and I think it was a 40 to 150. Not too sure about that one off the top of my head, but I'm kind of torn between the lenses. So if you do have any sort of idea of lenses for these things, please do let me know in the comments section below. So I do hope you enjoyed today's video. It has been fun for me once again to get out to the coast with this new camera. I really do like this thing. I've really sort of fallen in love with micro four thirds. So if you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up down below, because it really does help the video out and it brings new viewers to see my channel and view my content. And if you liked it more than that, there is a subscribe button below me. You can hit that and you'll see more nonsense from me with my cameras every single week. So until next week, I'm now going to love you and I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to say peace and goodbye.